I woke up early. I was very excited when I got released. I didn't sleep all night. I thought I was never coming back. Parole is easy, it's nothing, no problem. 6 months here, 3 months in the halfway house, done. Easy thing to do. Gave away everything, and when I got to the halfway house, it was like bang. The bang was, I'm out, I'm free. What am I gonna do? How can I do this? Am I gonna make it? Who out here is for me? Who out here is to help me? Who can help me?
I started drinking fairly young, became involved with people who were hanging out in what is known as Skid Row. And not everybody who goes to Skid Row ends up becoming into conflict with the law. And I did. I did when I was 21 years old. I did when I was 25 years old. And I did when I was 30 years old.
Everything was like, oh no, I'm gonna be on my own because I've been in the system since '96 was the first time I came in. And to have that security inside the walls, and coming back out here, it does something to a person's mind when you're in there. It's because you know the routine. And having your own routine out here, it's stressful, it's overwhelming, it's anxiety, it's anger.
You just get this pressure in your chest. You feel really empty. You feel really alone. You feel like nobody cares. Feel like nobody's listening. You feel like you can't talk. You don't know how to talk. You don't know who's there for you or who's gonna put you back. That's the bang you feel.
Bernice McGilvery knows that suffocating feeling of freedom. Iris Akus knows it. And Patricia Kane knows it.
When I got out, I had an anxiety attack. It's like, I was so happy, and yet I was so scared.
Patricia was recently released from the Edmonton Institution for Women. She's now on parole after serving more than 5.5 years of her 7-year prison sentence. Unwilling to move home to Saskatchewan, Patricia is starting her life over in Edmonton with no family, no friends, no money, no job, and no place to stay.
I was worried about her. Like, where is she going to go? I phoned some different people to see if they could suggest something to me. One person suggested that, well, she could phone a shelter for battered women, tell them a few lies. But I mean, why have to lie, to get a place to stay? I mean, you're in need. And I know once they get out there, they have to wait till they get out before they can ask for assistance from social services. And how long is that going to take for them? I mean, they need a place like right now, when they get out of here. So yeah, I feel helpless about that. I don't know what to do for them.
Patricia didn't have a very safe place to live, and she came out of the Edmonton Institution for Women having only saved $150. So I pressured my management big time so that they would pay for her room and board, basically, or pay for her to live voluntarily at the Elpida for Women halfway house, and that's where she's been.
Patricia must move out of the halfway house by the end of her parole. She now has 2 months to find an apartment and a job to finance it.
I'm taking a program called Quest for Success. And right now I just finished personal development. Right now I'm going to do employment readiness.
I can't imagine anything more terrifying. Walking out the door, not having anybody you can go to, no place you can stay. What do you do? Where do you go? How do you eat? Jail possibly could look like the better option.
Do what you need to do to...
Patty came to us, I think she had just recently been released from prison. She's in a halfway house. She'd heard about the program and thought that might be a good way for her to get into employment. She didn't have clothing, other than pretty much what she was wearing. She needed clothing. She wasn't familiar with the city. She wasn't familiar with the transit system. She didn't know how to get income, and she had sort of very limited resources. And she pretty much was trying to initiate things by herself. Quite typically, people come without those types of resources. Sometimes they come with no ID, don't know how to set up a bank account, don't know where social services office is, and don't know how to approach the workers when they get there. It's a very intimidating experience.
As far as Patty goes, I know that she's got an extensive criminal history. She's also got some huge barriers that she's overcoming right now in far as establishing herself in the community. Everything from lack of education, lack of work experience, lack of support, the criminal history, addictions. There's a lot of barriers that Patty has to deal with. From the assessment, it's only one major job she's had in the past where she was paid by an employer. I think there's a myth that I'll get a job and start my new life. And it's not that way, because they need to deal with some of the barriers, the addictions, whatever, in order to keep the job.
What I see in Patricia is that she has a tremendous amount of courage. She has all these challenges that she's trying to overcome, but she's out there and she's trying her level best. I don't think it's going to be without its hiccups. There will be times when she'll fall down, but as long as she can keep getting up and keep trying, I admire her for trying to get on her feet and become a contributing member of society. I think that's really commendable.
Like Patricia, Bernice knows how hard it is to rebuild a life on the outside. She knows because she tried it before. Her first release in 2004 lasted only 3 months before she reoffended and was sent back to jail. Bernice is currently serving her final year of a 5-year sentence.
My mom came and visited me at the halfway house. She was so happy that I got out. My brothers, some of my sisters came, and they were so happy to see me and to be out, and you can do it, and you know, I'm so happy, and I couldn't react to that. I'm close to my nieces and nephews, you know, I'm the one that they go to, you know, we do a lot of things, and what really hurt the most is when I came over and they didn't want me there, you know. They got really angry with me, and it broke my heart, and you know, you took my mom away from me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, your mom's right here. And then I realized they were downstairs using. Because before I started dealing drugs and using drugs, my family didn't know what it was. I introduced my family to it, and now my sisters are struggling with that addiction. They were my supports. And so when I got released, my supports were addicts.
See, all the time that I was under the influence of alcohol and drugs, it was like, wow, this way of life was cool, right? Because I was with people who lived similar lifestyle. And you take the alcohol and the drugs away and put me inside a jail cell, and then I get some clarity, and I think, gee, you know, here I am, 31 years old. I'm a mom. I'm a married woman who's looking after my children. And I felt this huge shame is what I felt. Shame, right? Shame and guilt. And I used to wonder, am I always going to feel like this?
Patricia's confidence is rising. She's been sober for over 3 months and is only weeks from graduating from her job program. And she's just found her own place. Today, after morning classes, she's planning to move into her new apartment.
I just got a call that Patty's not here this morning. She won't be in. Her whereabouts are unknown in the community.
I woke up this morning and 2 of the other girls in the halfway house are like, oh, Pat didn't come home last night. I had no clue. She never really divulged what she was going through. So I don't think she trusts easily, eh?
First saved message.
Good morning, it's Karen Atkinson at Edmonton Area Parole. Patricia K. went unlawfully at large last night, which she's serving time for manslaughter, is a sensational media incident.
When someone is declared unlawfully at large, when they're serving time for a Schedule 1 offense, regional headquarters and national headquarters are contacted in the middle of the night, and so everybody across Canada by now knows Miss K is at large. I honestly did not see this coming at all. Thought she was doing quite well and was acting appropriately for the late point in her sentence. 5 years, 2 months is a long time. To be down to your last 90 days is a huge achievement for her. The first 60 days after release is by far the most critical period of time, but Patricia had gone through that. I think in her case there could be some subconscious fear of succeeding. She's doing exceptionally well. She'd gone to the aftercare facility and scrubbed her bedroom and was all ready to move. So it's human nature and it's extremely difficult to predict.
Bernice also ran away. During her first release from prison, when hope and fear became too much to handle, she returned to the comfort of her old, chaotic life.
I was scared of drugs. I was scared to get in contact with my common law. I was scared to contact old friends. They were all users, dealers, and I just knew it was bad all around for me if I even made the effort to contact them, or I know I'd run into them sooner or later. I was stuck with the phone and I had all my old numbers, but nobody really good to call. And I was too afraid to reach out to the people in the halfway house and my parole officer for fear of them putting me back in here. So I needed treatment. I had asked for treatment, and when you're released on day parole, you're not allowed to go to any treatment facility. You know, you have to do your time in the halfway house, and the only thing that they have to offer is go to meetings. That's all there is. The expectations were too much. I wasn't communicating. I felt I couldn't communicate. I had too many fears. As soon as I started feeling the pressure, I gave myself a couple of days. And then the third day, I just couldn't handle it anymore. But I just picked up the phone and called the wrong person, and I was gone.
Three days later, Patricia turned herself in. She was sent to the Edmonton Remand Center for 14 days before being released.
I have a bad habit of picking men that are in their addictions, and so my guy friend, he asked me, what do you want to do? I was like, well, let's go to the casino, let's go play. So I was doing good, you know, I was winning, and so I was like, do you want to have a beer? So I started ordering him beers, and I was like, well, I'll just have one and I'll quit. But it didn't turn out like that. I just started drinking and I didn't turn back. I didn't stop at the right time, and I didn't phone my support people. I just fell and loved every minute of it, you know, because that was my old lifestyle, and it was good to walk back there again. And it's hard for me to trust people, you know, even my support people I can't trust, you know. I try, but like for me, my trust was broken a long time ago, hey, with families, relationships, with myself, with God, you know. And now it's, I guess, just feeling comfortable with what you did and moving on in life. And for me, I'll always have discomfort in that area because of my crime, because of everything that I've done, and I feel so guilty. It's like every time that I try, I seem to fall flat on my face, and yet I still forgive myself and pick myself up and do it all over again next day.
Patricia, the halfway house wouldn't agree to take her back for about 10 days after her relapse. With corrections, we use the Women's Substance Abuse Relapse Prevention Program, or WOSAP. I'd heard from the instructor she wasn't opening up or refusing to talk about feelings leading to relapse. Patricia doesn't have much time remaining in her sentence, but she's got a whole life ahead of her, and if I'm truly going to help deal with the problem of poly addiction, I can't give up. I think that's the thing about relapse prevention and treating addiction, is that you know, relapse is just a part of the recovery, and I'm trying to be somewhat forgiving and understanding. She's all done May 3rd. Once we get down to the last 30 days of her sentence, i.e. April 4th, once I get her to April 4th, if she has another relapse, my boss will leave her in the remand center until the end of her sentence.
I called an old associate of mine, a friend. Was hoping that he'd reach out and help me. So I had unrealistic expectations when I picked up that phone. But I had the knowing that I was gonna mess up in the back of my mind. You know, I knew I can get this, I knew I can get that. I got the drugs. Knowing the drugs would make me not think about anything, not care about anything. So I didn't have to feel the pressure. I didn't have to feel the way that I was feeling. I didn't have to care. I was on the run for 3 months. I knew I was on the run. I knew I was coming back. It was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time before they caught me. I just went hard, lived hard, very, very bad. I was in hiding. You know, it was like, catch me if you can. You know what I mean? I'm here. I feel alone. I need help.
I was sentenced to 3.5 years, which is pen time, right? And I had asked if they would keep me at Pine Grove Correctional Center, which is a provincial jail. And because of the agreement, they agreed to keep me under one condition. And the condition was that I would kick my habit cold turkey. In the beginning, I would think, if I'm going to make change, I'm going to do it on my own. So I knew I needed to stop drinking and I needed to stop drugging, right? And in the beginning, it was painful. It was painful to be away from what I was used to, and painful to be starting on a new life, and yet I know that I didn't want my old life back. I started to know people who weren't drinking or drugging, and people who perhaps had walked the same journey as I'd walked. They were making change in their life, and they seemed happy. And it was a happiness, and there was some truth there that my heart knew, right? And I wanted that.
I first connected with Iris when she was over in Pine Grove. She wasn't afraid to meet people, and as a result of that, she was not afraid to ask questions. But I do remember having conversations with Iris and letting her know that there are people out there, out in society, who are not so wrapped up in themselves, and that there are people out there who do care. I think we need to understand that these women and men have lived the life that they've lived for X number of years. And it could be 15, 20, 30 years they've lived that kind of life. And to come out of that kind of a life and try and stay sober, and you reach a difficulty in life, it's easy to go back to that kind of life because your old friends are there and they're waiting. They're probably betting on you. I bet you that guy is not going to stay sober for a year. And they're doing those kinds of things. I know they've done those kinds of things.
Somewhere just prior to sobering up, I remember calling out to this God, right? I remember wanting to pray the way I knew how. And my burdens were eased. I felt, that I could carry on. I found an understanding of God that I could live with, and I started making my change day by day. All of what I knew previously, I had to set it aside, and I had to learn. I had to learn a new way of life, a new way of being, a new way of thinking. Learning to reach out and say, hi, my name's Iris, and to be able to share a part of myself. And that was difficult for me to do that. It was very, very difficult. I'm glad I had people to show me that way.
And I think one of the important things in terms of support is that little saying, you can do it. Because where Iris came from prior to Pine Grove, and where I came from prior to going there, we didn't meet people like that. The people we met were, or I met, were people who wanted to share a bottle, who wanted to share a drink, who wanted to go to the bar, who wanted to party, who wanted to do different things. And certainly I didn't meet people who say, let's go to AA in that world.
Because I went on a run, they cut my funding. So now I have to go back into employment agency to see if they would fund me again because of my relapse. Like, I need to pay, I gotta start looking for a place, and I gotta start paying my rent. And this is very important in my life right now. I got $0 because of my binge I went on. I spent up all my money on that, and my cell phone bill has to be paid, and I gotta buy food, and right now I got $0, so that's what I'm going to find out. She's over right now. She's over at head office, wherever that is, and she should have been back already this afternoon, but it's already like 2 o'clock and it doesn't look like she's going to show up. So they're thinking early Monday I'll get an answer. So everything's still up in the air. His question was good as mine. Am I going to get funded again? He doesn't know.
It's weird. I'm scared. I'm too comfortable here. I'm too comfortable here. How am I going to feel when I get out? I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about food. I don't have to worry about any of that. I have to worry about that stuff when I get out. So where am I going to live? Where am I going to go to school? What kind of job am I going to have? You know, I'm worried about those pressures. I'm really worried. It's stupid to say, but you miss the institution. You know, I miss the institution. You know, I missed being here and being comforted here and not having to worry about any of that stuff. And your time starts when you walk out of here. You're not doing time when you're in here. Your time starts out there.
Got up today. I was all right. I felt okay. Went smudged this morning, said a prayer, and just left my problems in the Creator's hands and asked for new doors to be open today. I found out today that I got approved again for funding. I could sleep better now knowing that I'm going to get funded again. You know, in this way I could start looking for my own place and could start buying things again, because I like to shop. Walking in the doors, it's like, oh my God, what questions do I ask, you know, when you walk in, because I don't know what questions still to ask. When I was younger, I didn't finish school. I dropped out at a very young age, and my education level, I had no interest in that, and now I do. My mind wants to explore things, new things in life.
Only 2 days after the job fair, Patricia landed her first job interview. She was so excited about getting a job, she couldn't sleep the night before.
It was quite intense for her to prepare for this, to get ready for it. There's so many things that she had to learn in such a short space of time to prepare. And for some reason, the person who was doing the interview wasn't able to come in and didn't let us know. She didn't even get the interview. And I think really it was kind of devastating to do all that work and then not have an outcome to it of any kind.
The next day, Patricia disappeared. She turned herself into police a day later.
I went to see Patty at the Edmonton Remand Centre this morning to find out a little bit more about what had happened and why she had ended up there. And she informed me that she had relapsed and that she's not really sure about what the outcome of all that will be. She said she just couldn't say no. But then she also kind of talked about how hard it is to live with the things that she has to live with. And, you know, you get the sense that there's still a lot of pain, and I won't be able to keep Patty in the program because we only have a 3-week window where we can work with somebody with extenuating circumstances. She'll likely be going back to the institution. I think we all feel really sad that this has happened. We had lots of hopes that the outcome would be different than this. You know, when I was sitting there with Patty today, I had the sense of how her life had just really unraveled on her. All those hopes and dreams that she had for moving into her own place and having a job, suddenly that's gone.
Patricia was sent back to the Edmonton Institution to serve the final month of her sentence.
In 1992, I was sober for 12 years. And I remember a friend saying to me, "Hey, Iris, do you ever think about going to therapy?" And I said, "No," right? And so I decided to go to therapy. And what a wonderful thing it was. Because I had the opportunity to deal with, you know, the fears that I used to have. I had an opportunity to deal with some of the anger that, you know, I had repressed about, you know, leaving my children. I remember feeling shame, right? And, you know, slowly but surely, it started becoming less and less. It didn't impact my life so much. And I can talk about my life and where I've been without, you know, feeling the shame that I used to feel. I lived on the wrong side of life, you know, walked the dark side. I had a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge, and really they were survival skills, right? I applied for a job with the court worker program, and I was still on parole, court worker services of Saskatchewan. And anyway, I got the job. And they asked me why I thought they should hire me. And I said, well, I know what it's like to be in conflict with the law. And I said, and I have a real desire to help people. Yeah. You are the only one who can decide what you want to do. Right. What's best for you. I just said to my son last night, we were talking, and I said to him, you know, son, when you do good things will come to you, right? And so for me, doing good is making myself available to other people, making myself available to my family, making myself available to people in my community. Sometimes I talk to people that are incarcerated, and you know, they say, well, I'm going to do this when I get out, right? And I say that if you aren't doing it now, you won't do it when you get out.
Well, I'm staying till my stat, which is February. I'm getting better and I feel better, and it's like, but I still feel a little bit lost, a little bit when it comes to my plans on yields, because I'm worried about the support system.
What I usually tell the women is to stay connected. If it's not seeing me, to find an elder that they trust on the outside, continue going to different ceremonies, spiritual ceremonies and that. But to have a good plan and to stick to it. And again, to have the people out there, positive people to help them.
We've got to put the formula in. Y equal.
For schooling, I'm doing very, very well. You know, I'm excelling in all my work, and so my confidence is rising.
That'd be 4 equals 2x.
Like my Monday nights, there's the Alpha group. I've met some wonderful people there that are willing to be a support for me. I'm also in the church choir. So my evening programs, the evening programs that they have here they're my only releases, I feel. Like the people that come out from the community and volunteer their time to spend with us. I feel like these people really care. They really want to see you succeed. They really want to see you grow, you know. And that's really, really meaningful. I think what's going to get me through this is my reflection. You know, what I've been through, where I've been, what I've just gone through. And do I want that again? So those are the questions that I'll be telling myself every day when I get out. Do you want to go back to jail? Do you want to feel that loneliness? You know, do you want to feel that hurt? You know, how much do you care about your freedom? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out where I belong, what my place is. I know I don't belong in here.
you know, just having that security of a place to go home. I didn't have that because I lost my mom in May, and it really hurt me to make a home for myself. And there isn't just no easy way around it but to face it, you know, and I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to paint a bigger picture for my future right now.
So if you're hell-bent on going to treatment and you don't care if there's necessarily the Aboriginal component, then that would be my suggestion. But you have to go to detox. And they only do the free medicals on Tuesday and Thursday. So then once you do that, then with that, then you can go to social services and say, I want to get into Henwood.
And Henwood, how long is Henwood?
Henwood, I don't know. I can phone them and see what the waiting list is like there. Oh, you're kidding. Okay. Thank you very much. They're booking at the end of June. Because otherwise, like, I don't know what you're going to do. So what are your plans? Are you prepared to go to WEAC tonight?
Yeah.
Because for WEAC tonight, I don't think necessarily you'll be on the MAT program, but you know what that is or you don't know what that is. Okay, the MAT program, it's not great. If they don't have any bed space for you to actually give you a bed tonight, what they do is you have to report there by 7:30, 7:45. They'll give you a mat. You put on the floor. You have a couple of options that way in terms of where you stay tonight. But if you can, or where you stay for the next few days, do you have anybody that you can stay with that you can think of?
I don't know.
So no drugs, no alcohol, all that good stuff. You know the territorial boundaries. You need to stay within Edmonton between now and Saturday at least. If you need to go somewhere, you have to call me. I'll give you a travel permit, that kind of thing. Where's all your stuff?
It's right there.
That's all your
stuff?
stuff?
That's it. Yeah.
Can you get any money to pay for PAL makers? You don't think so? How are you feeling?
Good. Okay.
Give me a call tomorrow. Let me know what's going on. How are you doing, okay?
Will
Good
do.
luck.
Thank you.
I'll let you down this way. It's faster to go out.
That's the bang you feel.